Is the true pandemic in our heads? To answer this question, let's examine a number of different perspectives. There are many ways to look at this time of pandemic. Memes are one of them. They're a form of idea contagion. They're only one way to bring order to perceptual chaos. I see five main memes in operation right now: health, money, politics, civic, and mental. The most commonplace meme is pandemic as a health emergency, where an invisible enemy invades our very physical being and causes escalating suffering and death beyond compare. This is the stuff of 24-hour news, daily public health office briefings, brave frontline workers, and a cowering and deeply concerned public. With this view, every life is priceless, and it is a crass and uncaring person who would trade lives, well, for anything. Such a perspective elevates pandemic health outcomes above all else and dictates a now well-known regime to ensure ultimate victory. Wash your hands, stay home, avoid others, and wait, wait, wait for the all's clear. The health sector does not sit in splendid isolation on this planet. And so we quickly discovered to our horror that hiding from each other comes at a great social and economic cost. This is the money meme. We are the ultimate in integrated societies, intimately bound to each other for our basic needs and desires. So breaking those bonds has caused a different sort of crisis, namely a financial market plunge like no other in history, an economic contraction worse than any in centuries, a loss of jobs and livelihoods rivaling the Great Depression, and a shock to confidence that is fundamentally reordering the global economy. So far, the suffering from the money meme for most people far outweighs the direct health hit from the pandemic. This profound societal shift brings up the next perspective on this odd time: the political meme, and the way in which politics and policy have bolstered and shaped health and economic threats. The pandemic reeked of politics from the very start, with Chinese authorities acting to silence whistleblowers and hide the bad news. Early in 2020, our own leaders talked loudly but slow-walked public health measures in an apparent belief that the pandemic would not go global. Then, this too little, too late approach morphed into too much too late in mid-March, when most governments slammed on the economic brakes. Now, the political slow walk is staging a comeback in the form of tepid and reluctant reopenings of many economies, and so delaying a fulsome recovery. There's no doubt that the political meme reflects a policy seesaw, rocking back and forth, but with little forward direction. Where there are politicians, there are voters, and votes to be had. And the civic meme is another way to look at this time of social crisis. This is how we interact with each other on a daily basis. We are split between two sizable fringes, with a great chasm between those. Some are labeled as stupid and scared, people who support restrictions, and those people who are seen as mean and selfish and dumb. Absent trust and tolerance, we will be hard-pressed to create a less cantankerous polity. And we are already seeing the first examples of extreme street protests, with guerrilla tactics and recurrent skirmishes as new normal practices, adding even more disharmony to our daily lives. Finally, the deepest perspective on this time of crisis is the most nuanced. It basically urges us to look within ourselves to understand why things are so bad. This is the mental meme. The coronavirus is a natural process, but the pandemic is a combination of that plus human interaction. So our attitudes towards each other are significant drivers of contagion. We display these disparate attitudes in everything from social debates to blaming and shaming others. Even our perspectives on pandemic risk are free-floating in our minds and mostly unrelated to reality. Ultimately, then, the pandemic is in our heads, and that is the only place where we'll find a viable solution. Thankfully, we do not have to wait until the next viral mutation to address these memes and fix these problems. The time to think clearly and act is now. We need to put in place societal changes that are preventive in nature, flexible, and effective, and that add rather than subtract from our prosperity and peace of mind. End the lockdown. Stop the isolation. Return to work and play. Let people self-select their levels of risk. Allow public spaces to reflect community standards. Let the mass market have its say. Expose policy decisions to open criticism. And stop coercing people and collaborate instead. Ask, don't yell. There's frankly a lot of work to be done. The track we are following is anything but these approaches. Let's call that the meme to end all of these terrible memes. I'm Mark Mullins.
Commentary That Matters is a partner program of Conversations That Matter. The production of this show is made possible thanks to your generous support. Please become a Patreon at patreon.com/commentary that matters and become a subscriber so that you don't miss a single episode of Commentary That Matters.